I've been good, dude. Had an interesting year, but I mean, personally, I had a really, a lot of it was a really good year, and kind of weird to go through something so horrible, but like still somehow get lucky enough to have a good experience through a lot of it, and sometimes I feel guilt for that because there's a lot of people that didn't have such a good time going through the last
Mm.
year or so. So I just try to just remember that I'm freaking grateful for what I've had and the comfortability I've been able to have this year and time to write and time to spend with family and stuff like that. So not a whole lot of complaints from my
Yeah.
end. Definitely some complaints, but
Yeah, well, dude, I'm absolutely loving the new EP. It is just
thank
right
you,
up
dude.
my street, though. And it's such a progression for you sonically as well from the Dark Horse album.
Yeah, it's very different. You know what I mean? It's a lot more upbeat. It's a lot more hopeful. It's a lot more like inspirational, I guess. Which I think it's kind of just a little um, indicative of just the shit I've gone through in the last 3 years because it's been a pretty dope 3 years. So
Well, tell us about the kind of place that you're in now as an artist and where this EP came from in comparison to that Dark Horse album, because in terms of the whole colour and the flavour of the music, it's just completely
yeah.
different.
I don't know if it's necessarily like where I am as an artist. I think it just is informed. It's more about where I am as just a person and as a man, and then the art kind of is informed by that, I guess. I mean, a lot of it does come from the success and the awesome, cool things I've had, been able to do, and how happy that has made me. But I've also fallen in love and gotten married and got a house and I got a couple dogs and I've kind of turned 30 and I kind of just got my like life kind of figured out a little bit, or at least halfway now. So I think the biggest thing to say is that just I've come a long way and I've changed, not necessarily changed. I just think grown probably is a little bit better of a word. I've grown a lot since, the last 3 years, 4 years of who I was since Dark Horse. When I was writing that album and that song in particular, I was just very kind of troubled and haunted a little bit and just didn't have financial or mental stability or any of that. I was kind of finding my way through college and finding my way through figuring out what I wanted to do as far as music goes and getting an opportunity to do it on a bigger scale and all that. But through all that, like I said, I've had a really, really good 3 years. Obviously, there's a lot of ups and a lot of downs. Like, I'm not going to act like it's all been great. But, when I look back, I just think how crazy it is and how awesome it is that I've been able to do what I get to do. And it makes me a happy dude, you know what I mean? So, uh, of course, there's always a lot of ballads and always a lot of slow songs and sad heartbreak songs that I write just because I kind of just gravitate towards that anyways, just because even though I am happy, like I still want to, like, I like playing that character, you know what I mean? Like I like that part of my creative heart. I like playing that vulnerable, introspective, kind of visceral, brooding kind of lyric guy. Like that's just the stuff that I like, but it kind of just shaked out for this EP that the first songs we recorded and the ones that kind of came together this way were these 6 songs and they kind of put out this different air of like, yo, this is kind of just a little taste of what I've gone through in the last couple of years and how happy it's made me. And then therefore me trying to make sense of that happiness. If that makes sense, I kind of just digressed a little bit, but I think that was hopefully what you're looking for.
And you got to join up with Jay Joyce again, continuing that relationship. And that's another great example of Jay's versatility as a producer as well, to kind of switch it up completely. So from your perspective, what is it about Jay's work that just fits right with you in the studio?
Man, I think I'm just a fan of what he does, and I'm always fascinated by the way he hears something that's completely different than what I would hear. And then how he executes that and makes it palatable and makes it feel right. You know what I mean? working with him is a scary thing because he doesn't collaborate a lot. He's very selfish when it comes to that kind of, um, you know, creative goal. I guess it's like we definitely cut it together and we play it as a band, but then he kind of just takes it off in his own layer for like a month and just does what he wants to it, and that's his process and that's how he works, and I respect that, and I'm also a huge fan of it, but it doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't make it an easy process. And I think this time more than last, we even had a more difficult time trying to be on the same page. But I think the beautiful thing about Jay is that he does what a producer should do, and he sees things in you that maybe you can't see in yourself because of perspective. And I think a huge part of him saw, how much I've grown since the last record we made, and how many of these songs that I turned into him and showed him were, pretty happy. And he also knows I've had success with love songs before. You know what I mean? So these just happen to be like the first kind of 6 that we recorded, and we had planned to do a lot more and finish them. And then COVID and all that. And Jay is, a high risk. He's older. He's been smoking. He has diabetes, that kind of stuff. So it just, that and other reasons that just we weren't able to finish, I guess, the album the way that we thought we were going to when we went in. But priority for me was just putting out new music because it had been so long since Dark Horse. And so instead of like waiting to try to figure out how to finish this album or maybe finish it in a way that wasn't like quite exactly how we hoped or whatever, I was just like, well, let's take these 6 songs that we have finished because I fucking love them, and let's see how they feel together as an EP, and let's just put out new music as soon as possible. And so that kind of became the North Star for us.
And I wanted to chat with you about,
I do love working with Jay. So
yeah, I just wanted to chat with you about I Got a Truck in particular, because dude, that was one of my favorite, well, easily one of my top 3 songs last year. Absolutely love I Got a Truck. And you've told the backstory about it loads, but I wanted to talk about the actual recording of that because it really feels like you let loose on that one. It almost feels like a jam session towards the end of it. So how 100%. Did that kind of recording develop?
Yeah, it's weird. We actually started and we didn't scrap it. We started it and we're like, let's do it another day. Like we did it 3-4 times where we started kind of playing it, and we were just trying to find the heart in it and trying to make it so that people didn't hear it and write it off as oh, it's just another truck song. You know what I mean? Because if that's what you want it for, it's there for you. If you want it just a truck song, but it's within one verse, you realize it's very deep. It's way deeper than that, and it's not just a truck song. It's about what a truck represents. And it's kind of just a certain window into this story. But I think it was important for us to tell it in a very honest way, I guess, sonically. We just didn't want it to come off cheesy or contrived or anything. And so that song actually went through a pretty big transformation in the studio. And I'm not sure if you ever got a chance for me to, or if you ever got a chance to hear me play that one acoustic before I went into the studio, but it had a completely different arrangement. The bridge, the ain't nothing but a four-wheel hand-me-down, that's it doesn't really look like much. That was part of the chorus. And we moved it to the bridge and cut the chorus down. And we just changed so many tiny little different arrangements. And that's another thing that Jay is so good at, just kind of listening down to a song and saying okay, well, I get a little bored here. Let's see if we can move that here. Or I really was feeling I wanted this here. And so it took a while to just jam it out, like you said, and just get the dynamics right and get to a point where it felt more like a statement rather than a singer-songwriter kind of manifesto or something, And so once we got the feel right and the form right and the arc right, it was just about playing it down. And once we had done that, it was really easy because we'd played this song for 2 years, with my band. And so like I said, working with Jay, you have to be willing to just throw all the puzzle pieces on the ground and then pick them back up and put them in a different, order or whatever. And that's just one thing he's so good at. And with I Got a Truck, it just came out so great. I can't imagine what that song would be like without him,
Yeah. And another one that's a big favourite of mine is Who's Gonna Hold You. And if you'd have told me that there was going to be like a Caribbean song on the next Devin Dawson record, I'd have been like, what the hell? So where did that one come from?
Man, I don't freaking know. Like, I think, well, I wrote that in the back of the bus with Austin and Jordan Reynolds and on one of our weekend tours that we were on. And like, I don't think it had that like necessarily Caribbean feel. I'm looking for a guitar. Hold on one second. Like it did in the feel of it, like, oh, it's not even tuned. It was like, and then it kind of added this, like it kind of the rhythm kind of informed that, like pushing that to the next boundary. You know what I mean? And for some reason, like when we wrote it, it didn't feel that way. But then when we started playing it as a band, it kind of like had just certain feels of that. And there was something really interesting how I'd never put together the fact that like country music uses pedal steel, but also like so does island Jamaica. Like I had never kind of like put that together in a way. And so it was kind of this weird connection. Yeah, I don't know. I think that song was something that was a fan of a lot of people around me, and they loved it so much. And so, I don't know. We just kind of jammed it out in the studio, and that's where it got to. And I think I was just able and daring enough, and just I just wanted it to be what it wanted to be, you know.
Yeah, I think that's one of the beauties of this EP. It's just like you've not tried to conform to anything, and it's just literally what's come out in the studio, and it just feels so fresh and vibrant.
Yeah, I think that I'm very thankful and grateful to be allowed to have that license to kind of like do something that I've never done and try to redefine the boundaries, because I felt like that's what my first album was, even though for everyone else it was like that's the first they'd heard from me. You know what I mean? But for me, it really did feel like just kind of going and searching for something that I'd never done. And, I think my next album will definitely have a lot of ballads, because I have so many on deck that I love, and then I didn't get to finish for this album. And so I hope everyone's ready for that, for a little bit more darkness coming in. But for a second, at least, it's nice to kind of just tell people that, I am happy and, I want to try new things. And I think my fans can always expect the unexpected from me. Hopefully, I want that.
Well, that brings me on to the next question, because I was going to say, are you looking to do another EP or a full album? Because obviously the landscape's changed and we see a lot of EPs and standalone singles now, but I'm an album guy. I love...
Yeah, I am too, man. But, on one hand, like, do what's right for your art, but on the other hand, like, do what's right for, like, what's going to get heard. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying people aren't going to listen to albums, but you have to do a certain amount of like build up beforehand, to release that album. Morgan Wallen did a great job if we're just talking about music and the way he built his album up and then released 2 albums, you know what I mean? Like, but he also just had, the biggest buzz in our genre at the moment. So it worked for him. But I am an album guy too. And I really like the way that songs feel and fit together as a whole. And you get a little bit of that with an EP, but it's almost like it's like leaving you wanting more, which I think was probably the point of this, just because, like I said, we went in and wanted to do more, and we didn't get a chance to finish them in the right way. And Jay and I were kind of just had a harder time this time to get on the same page with every song. And so this is what came out, and it's like everything happens for a reason, It's like I never really expected to put out this kind of bright or happy or inspirational or hopeful of a project, and it came at a really good time, because I think even though it's just simply telling people about what I've gone through and how happy I am or whatever, it's also like people kind of need that right now. I feel like a little bit of positivity in their life, but moving forward, I'm actually, so I have a twin brother, and I don't know if you've heard me talk about him or not, but he's a writer and a producer and he plays drums for Hardy and stuff. And we've been waiting for a chance to work together on something, and so I'm gonna go in actually at the end of this week, I think, and start cutting some songs with him for the next project, and just try to change it up a little bit. And he's my blood, he's my twin. You know, we've really been working together since we were 12 years old, but to finally get a chance to do it on like a big major scale like this is really exciting. And yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna be doing a lot more ballads for sure.
And just before I let you go, Devin, obviously I have to ask you about the UK because it's been so long since we saw you now. It feels like an absolute age. So once all this COVID mess is over, would you like to come and see us again? Because I feel like you've built a really good platform over here now.
Yeah, I mean, I really felt like I had, and I'm not saying it's gone anywhere, but you know, I think it's not like I wasn't able to tour and everyone else was still able to tour. Yeah. It's like I'm just in the same place as everyone else, and for some reason that kind of helps me in my mind a little bit. But yeah, dude, I've always told you, like I love it over there. I'm thankful for the way that my music is accepted over there. I really do think it fits well, and it will continue to grow. I want to help push country music even farther over there, and so yeah, 100%. I will be back. You know, when it was everything was good and we were traveling, I was there like 3 to 5 times a year. You know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully some sort of headlining thing one time, and we'll see what happens. I mean, at this point, I'm just dreaming, but damn, I fucking miss it. So.
We've all got a dream. We've all got to do it.
I know, dude. Yeah, the answer is yes. And I miss you guys, and I appreciate you giving me some time this morning and talking through the EP, man.
All right, man. Best of luck with all new music, mate. And we look forward to hearing the full album when it's out there.
Hell yeah, dude.